Hi, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. Thanks for coming, stopping by, and watching us drink tequila while you don't. I'm Mike Morales in soggy Southern California. That guy out there is
Eric Zandona in Florida's Emerald Coast.
Eric, and I have been actually walking down memory lane with this
Mm-hmm.
particular line of tequila, and now you can actually see what
Yeah.
it is. The Blanco and Reposado both came in like these frosted bottles, and the Reposado is all black. You can see it behind me here.
Yeah.
This has got some gold lettering on it, so you can actually read it.
Mm-hmm.
More of not a matte.
Painted finish.
Yeah, it's a painted finish. So I wouldn't recommend. Let me give you a hint. I wouldn't recommend putting this in the freezer because chances are that black paint is going to come off on your hands when that happens.
That
Okay, I just get a feeling. I just get a
sounds like words of experience.
yeah, actually, but not with this brand. It was
You're right.
I could tell you the story, but I'll tell you the story a little bit later. But anyway, this is called the Blanco se Casa Reserva de la Torre. Now this one says Reserva de la Torre, and
Yeah.
this is the añejo, and it's 40 ABV. All three of these are 40 ABV.
Yeah.
Neglected to say that none of these are high proof. Although Eric did make a mention that the Blanco we would like to see as a high proof.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think you're right. I think that would be something really special. I think everything would be heightened. I
Yeah.
love the Blanco. The Blanco is special.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah.
really old school. Even the bottles look like old school like this. I mean, I remember bottles like I think I talked about Espolon.
Yeah.
I think Casa no La Cofradia had a tequila that came in a bottle like this, and we couldn't get enough of some of those tequilas. You know, we would hunt it down on, in supermarket stores, because that's in the shelves that they were at.
Yeah.
Hello. I'm gonna pour mine in a Glencairn, just like Eric did.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a yeah, it's a branded Glencairn, but who cares? Um,
Yeah.
so anyway, the legs and tears were beautiful. Now this was kind of similar to the Repo, don't you think? The color?
Yeah, the color's it's a little bit darker color. So, but just a touch, even though, so they say that the añejo has been rested for 12 months in the barrel versus I think 6 for the repo.
Okay.
So, again, it's possible that, this is the second use of the barrel, so
Yeah,
even though
yeah, it
it's
could be an
in
older
twice as
barrel.
long,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not getting quite as much color.
Well,
So,
oh wow, that's interesting. Well, I'm using okay. Right now, the legs and the liquid is sheeting off this particular Glencairn, but there's a reason for that, and I'm not going to go into it right now. I'm going to wait till it actually, because the legs and tears on the Reposado were spectacular.
hmm
Nice legs and tears. Even the Blanco has some really good clingy, beads of liquid. And you found the Blanco oilier. And I said, even the more I played with it on my palate, it was like there's a butteriness to it.
hmm
And so, and that's good. That's a good sign.
yeah.
I don't know. We did some investigating offline, and Eric said that there is a Taona on the distiller.
That's what they say on their website. So,
So maybe
so
the butteriness came from the Taona, but I doubt it. Most of whenever I get a Taona tequila, it's mostly minerality that I get.
hmm
It's really wet cement, stone. Yeah, it's a really distinctive flavor and aroma. So
hmm
I'm not sure, but I like the butteriness in the Blanco. So there's
yeah. So the aroma for this to me is really kind of going through an interesting evolution. The first smell that I had really leaned towards like much more earthy, fibrous agave. But now that's kind of gone into the background and I'm getting a lot of like fruitiness,
yeah, it's much more
almost like,
fruity.
yeah,
Yeah.
almost like grape gum kind of fruitiness. Um, you know, I always pull out weird things for Mike.
No, no,
Uh,
because I remember I'm a little bit older than Eric, probably not by
yeah,
much, but I remember when we were kids, you had the grape and all of these flavors were artificial, very, very
yeah,
much.
yeah,
But but in back in the day when we were kids, the artificial was it would come up in your face because you just
right.
knew it wasn't real, but it would smell similar. Like I remember, they used to have these packets of not Kool-Aid, but they were called Funny Face. And it
Yeah,
was very similar, it's a powder, you mix it up with
yeah,
water, you put it in the pitcher, and you would get and then each flavor had a different character, and there
yeah,
would be a grape character, and there would be a strawberry character, and there would be a lemon character, and so when you say stuff like that, it reminds me of when I was a kid and we had
right.
that was a treat. It wasn't like
Yeah,
that wasn't something that came in a bottle already prepackaged. You had to make it. You had to stir it
yeah,
up, and get
right,
it
right, right.
and do it.
I mean, I'm sure if you want to be fancy, you could just dissect it a little bit more. There's like a sweet fruitiness that's combining with this like vanilla character from the oak that
Yes.
to me is just reminding me of this like grape and not in a bad way, not
No, 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 no.
artificial.
Yeah,
It's actually
we're
kind of
not.
really pleasant.
Yeah. And you're right. It is it's sweeter on the nose now. There is a bit of
Hmm.
a honey, or
Hmm.
vanilla. Kind of leans toward, for me, more like honey than vanilla. But
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
it may change at once.
Yeah.
It's evolving. It's actually cool
Yeah.
because it's evolving in the glass. So that
Yeah.
means it's going to evolve on the palate too. So I say we dive in
Yeah.
and see
For
what we
sure.
get. Mm. Not as sweet as I thought it was going to be.
No,
It's
but
drier.
there's
There's a dryness to it.
yeah, I think it's pretty well balanced. There's a little bit of sweetness there. For a moment, I got this like hit of almost coffee.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
yeah. So there's to me, there's still more of that like kind of yeah, honey sweetness, not quite vanilla sweetness, but yeah, honey sweetness. There's some oak there for sure.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
yeah, I would say
there's a
more like orange oil now than
there's
lemon.
coffee ground bitterness
Yeah,
on the back of the palate.
yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it again belies the nose because you think it's going to be a little bit sweeter on the intake, but it's not.
Hmm.
There's a hell of a nose too, Eric. And
Yeah.
you know what? Cigar all the way with this one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Again, tiramisu, maybe.
Hmm.
Um, like so you mentioned coffee, so whatever, even stuff with coffee nibs and things like that,
Hmm.
or coffee, chocolate covered coffee beans, something like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I like it.
Mm.
The There's a little bit more alcohol in this compared to the Reposado and añejo. And of course, they're all 40%, but in terms of what you kind of sense on the palate, but it's not too much and it's not sharp, but it's definitely got a little bit stronger of a presence. But overall, solid añejo.
It's got the cinnamon the cinnamon spiciness now on the lip and
Yeah,
numbness. It's a
yeah,
little more prominent.
yeah,
It's not overpowering or anything. I think it's pretty
yeah.
well balanced all the way around.
Yeah. And again, like this goes, I think, perfectly in line with what we've said about the Blanco and the Reposado. Like to me, this just comes across as a really classic añejo. Like nothing, it's definitely nothing artificial about it that
Oh
you
no,
get
no,
in
no, no, no.
some of the craziness nowadays. And it's it's like the this is what you get when you put tequila in a barrel for 12 months. You get this evolution of flavors and become something interesting and new. And so I like it.
I think considering, where things are at now, with the new crop of generations that are just getting into tequila. If you want to
Yeah.
know what it was like when Eric and I started on this whole journey,
Yeah.
this is a great throwback tequila, and it's a
Yeah. Yeah.
dark
Yeah.
horse. I think it really needs a lot of attention from
Yeah.
people
So,
who are really yeah, absolutely. People who
yeah.
like us, we've been reminiscing on every single expression, about
Yeah.
the old days, right? The old days of it.
Yeah.
You mentioned El Jimador, and with the kind of the añejo with the metal faceplate, and I said, well, the bottle reminds me of the old Espolon,
Yeah.
because it when it first came on the market, I think it had a wooden knob on it, and it looked like this kind of bottle with a foil plate.
Hmm.
This is spectacular. It really, what do we have a price point on this one?
Yeah. $65. So,
You know what?
r- really, really good.
Yeah, for that kind of
Yeah.
price,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong. And the nose keeps evolving, and it's like
Hmm.
now it's a deeper. I want to call it a deeper honeysuckle, but
Hmm.
I think that the longer, we could go longer, but why? Um, but I think there's more of the tobacco you were talking about, more of the coffee. Um,
Yeah.
Not leather per se, but more leads more toward the coffee and the tobacco, I think.
Yeah.
That's just, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Really nice. Really
It's really
nice.
not, and it keeps evolving in the glass. I
Hmm.
I say Brand of Promise nominee. It
Agreed.
really deserves your attention. If you could find it, folks, tell us what you're doing with it. It's called, I think it's called Casa Reserva de la Torre.
Yeah.
It comes from a very small distillery. What is it, 1624? Is that what that is?
1625.
25. I don't have my glasses on, and it's dark out there because it's raining. Um, 1625. It is a very small distillery. It only has like four brands coming out of it, and never heard of any of them.
Yeah.
So I say look for this. I know you were looking, Eric, on a website. Does it say where people can buy it or what states it's in right now?
I mean, there's an online store through their website. I haven't seen it somewhere else yet,
Okay.
but
So your best bet's to just go to the website, buy it online.
yeah.
I think it's well worth, for these old school dogs, these old dogs who are looking for a class. You named it. You
Yeah.
pegged it. It's a classic tequila, and I think I buy the case, man.
Yeah.
You're not gonna hurt yourself by getting a case of this stuff. And like I say, I wish I knew more. Hopefully, we get in touch with the importer brand owner, and they can tell us a bit more about it. I wish we had some of that information, but just on taste alone and aroma,
Mhm.
solid,
Yeah.
solid. And
Yeah.
and would you put this in a cocktail? You could, couldn't you?
You could. I mean, I would do it just neat. You know, if anything, just to kind of tamp down just so slightly that alcohol, maybe a couple of drops of water, but definitely I wouldn't put it on ice. You could, but I wouldn't. You could put it in a cocktail, but it's just like doesn't need anything. It just
No, no, it
is a
does.
great añejo on its
Yeah,
own.
and for the price.
Yeah.
Sip it and just pair it with something. Pair it
Yeah.
with a cigar, pair it with some good chocolate, pair it with some coffee. You know, uh,
Yeah.
even a nice café con piquete would be all right with this. Uh,
Hmm.
but anyway, that's our take. I'm Mike Morales here in soggy Southern California. That gentleman out there is.
Eric Zandona in Florida's Emerald Coast.
You folks have been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff as Eric and I enjoy Reserva de la Torre. Go find it, go get it. I think it's highly recommended by the two of us. It's an old school
Hmm.
back tequila. Tell us what you're doing with it. If you have had it, what you're paying for it, leave us a comment, leave us a drink emoji. I dare you. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and whatever you do, folks, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.